We ought to be teaching the kids some real science instead, like the first law of thermodynamics, which tells us matter and or energy cannot be created or destroyed. Well, everything's made out of matter. You're made out of matter, so if matter cannot be created or destroyed, how did the world get here? We're here, you know. So that leaves only two choices. Somebody made the world, or the world made itself. There's no other choice. Well, there's a few out there on the lunatic fringe who would say, we're not really here at all. We just think we're here. Okay, you can forget about those folks. We are here. So either somebody made the world or the world made itself. Now the devil does not want you to believe in the beginning God created the heaven and the earth. Oh, he sure does not want you to believe that. So the devil had to think up a way for the world to make itself. So he thought and he thought and he thought and he thought. Finally he came up with the Big Bang Theory. How many have ever heard of the Big Bang Theory before? I was on the airplane years ago flying from Dallas to San Francisco, the land of the fruits and the flakes. And I happened to sit right next to a professor from Berkeley University. I don't know if you folks up here have ever heard of Berkeley or not, but Berkeley is not a Bible college. So here I was sitting on the airplane about that far away from this professor, and we started talking about creation and evolution. Everybody I sit by in the airplane wants to talk about that, so I talk about it with him. And he said he believed in evolution. I said, yes, sir, I figured that. You have to teach at Berkeley. Either that or be a card-carrying communist. Either one will get you a job out here. I said, tell me, sir, if you believe in evolution, how did the world get here? He said, well, it came from the Big Bang. I said, really? I'd like to hear about this. He said, you're a science teacher and you've never heard of the Big Bang? I said, oh, yes, sir, I've heard a lot about the Big Bang. And I believe in the Big Bang. But my Big Bang is a lot different than yours. You tell me about your Big Bang, and then I'll tell you about my Big Bang. And so the professor gave me a textbook perfect answer. I mean, this guy had obviously been to school a bunch. He said, well, Mr. Hovind, I believe about 18 or 20 billion years ago, all the matter in the universe. That's a lot of stuff, folks. Hey, by the way, preacher, I just learned this a couple ago. Did you know the word universe comes from two Latin words, uni, meaning single, and verse is a spoken sentence. Isn't that interesting? We live in a single spoken sentence. God said, let there be, and here we are. Now, if he quits talking, we're in trouble. But anyway, the professor said all the matter in the universe was concentrated into one very dense, very hot region that may have been much smaller than a period on this page. All the matter in the universe was squished into a dot smaller than a period on a page? That's one crowded dot, folks. And heavy, too. Man, who held that thing up? Hey, and it ain't the first time it happened, nor the last. This textbook tells them, someday, boys and girls, all of the matter and energy will once again be packed into a small area, no bigger than the period at the end of this sentence. Then, another Big Bang may occur. It happens every 80 to 100 billion years. See, folks, you can forget about global warming. We're going to get squished. Global squishing coming up. Call your senator, pass a law quick. Now, this textbook author is brilliant. I could not believe how smart this guy was. He said, students, nothing really means nothing. You have to be at least that smart to write a textbook, okay? He says, not only matter and energy would disappear, but also space and time. However, physicists theorize that from the state of nothingness, the universe began in a gigantic explosion. What? Nothing exploded, and here we are. Explain that to me, would you please? They even put this idea in major science journals, folks. I'm not making this up. Scientific American, a major journal. Look what they said. The observable universe could have evolved from an infinitesimal region. In the Greek, that's a dot. He said it's then tempting to go one step further and speculate that the entire universe evolved from literally nothing. Yes, boys and girls, you see, we all came from a dot, and the dot came from nothing. And they call that science and put it in a science book. I'd call that a fairy tale and put it in the garbage. I said, Professor, what happened to the dot? He said, well, you see what happened. About 20 billion years ago, all the matter in the universe was drawn into this itty-bitty tiny dot, and it was spinning. It spun faster and faster and faster. Finally, it exploded. And the pieces flew off and became, you know, the galaxies, sun, moon, stars, and people. Here we are. I said, sir, could I ask you a few questions, please? He said, sure. What would you like to know? I said, well, sir, you told me 20 billion years ago, all the dirt in the universe got together for the big squish and the big spin and the big bang. Where'd all this dirt come from? Who made matter? I mean, there's an awful lot of matter in the universe. Who made it? He said, well, we don't know that for sure. I said, okay, now, sir, hold on just a minute. If I tell you that I believe about 6,000 years ago, God created the heaven and the earth, you're going to say, where did God come from? And I don't know. But you said 20 billion years ago there was a big bang, and you don't know where the dirt came from. So basically, I believe in the beginning God, and you believe in the beginning dirt. Don't tell me my theory is religious and yours is scientific. Oh, no, sir. They're both religious. And these two timelines are the same thing I've got right here on this pole. These two timelines represent what the Bible teaches, the biblical worldview of history, as opposed to the evolution or humanist worldview of history. These two timelines are not the same scale. The Bible teaches God made the world about 6,000 years ago. The evolutionists teach 20 billion years ago there was a big bang. Both views are religious. The difference is the evolution religion is tax supported. That's the difference. And by the way, they couldn't survive without tax support. So you can get thousands of people together for a church service on Sunday. You cannot get thousands of humanists together at their own expense for any kind of service. Run an ad in the biggest newspaper you can find. Atheist meeting tomorrow night. 4 people will show up.